Good evening, everyone. Today is the Monday evening webinar. I'm going to welcome everyone to our call and also welcome everybody who's coming from all different regions of the world. Today we have an unusual group because we're actually getting bigger. So congratulations everyone who's joining us from Singapore or Malaysia or the Philippines. If you're joining me from Vietnam, good evening. If you're joining me from the United States, good morning. And if you're joining us from Europe, good afternoon. I'm so happy that you're with us. So this is a photograph actually of Dr. Hill. He is the founding executive and chairman of the Medical Advisory Board. For those of you who are not aware, doTERRA has actually begun to form a really amazing medical advisory board with cardiologists and radiologists and pediatricians and doctors of many different specialties, surgeons coming on board because they like the idea of offering essential oils as a complement to the medical care that they are given. One of the things that I love about Dr. Hill is he is an extremely humble man. When he speaks from the stage and when he speaks to you in person, you really see the same thing. And what he says here is, we're not like other companies. We never at any one moment in time said, let's start a company and be like everyone else. By design, we are different. We're profoundly different. So let me say, with every fiber of my being, and very emphatically, doTERRA, without question, is not just a world leader in essential oils. We're the world leader in defining what quality is and what purity is. And in that, we will never, ever deviate. Dr. Hill has an amazing way of bringing together disparate strains. I know in the beginning of the founding of doTERRA, it was fairly difficult for him and for his partners to convince others that doTERRA not only was different, but that they were approaching this as healthcare for the future, if you will, healthcare for today. So the ideas expressed in this presentation are those of Dr. Hill. Very often when I talk to you, I cite a book or another reference that I've been using, but this is based on the presentation that Dr. Hill did at convention. So let's get started. Thank you, first of all, to our Blue Diamond team, our Rising Blue Diamonds, myself, Elena Jordan, if you haven't had a chance to meet me yet, Elizabeth Ho, Hong and Shu Lee, Sang Louis, Wen Wei, and Lorinda Walker. Our Rising Diamonds, Bean Hu, Karen, Enkat, Sri, Denise, and Nicole. And our Rising Platinums, Swen B, Joyce Lynn, Sihan, Sandra, Carmen, Nicole, Alan, Heather, David, and Michelle. Congratulations, and thank you so much for being on this call. And finally, our Rising Golds, Melanie, Sarita, Bryce, Kak Heng, Joyce, Soon Kun, Marie, Jeng Jeng, Agnes, Lydia, Wei, Yok Mei, Eng Zi, Xu Ling, Anne, Sylvia, Lauda, Lynn, Kathleen, Pui Hoon, Shirley, Joyce Lynn, Telia, and Vince C. Thank you so much for everything that you do for this team. If you're on this call for the first time, I want to invite you to contact any one of the members that any of the people that you've seen listed here, or me directly if you have any questions. If not, you should be contacting the person who invited you to this call in case you have any questions about anything that's presented here. So let's look. I'm going to actually show you this fairly quickly, and then I'm going to go into it in great detail. So Dr. Hill's daily protocol for health actually is a 5-step program, and it's the pyramid on the left, starting with self-care at the top, reducing toxicity, resting and de-stressing, exercising, and eating right. And we're going to talk about each and every one of these steps in the pyramid and how important they are for our general health and well-being. So the first thing is proactive medical care. I am not a doctor. I know that some of you who are on this line are doctors, but what I want to emphasize to you is you do need to have yourself checked up from time to time. Get to your internist or have yourself have your regular medical checkups, including checking your blood pressure, maybe getting an EKG if you have a history of heart disease in your family. You want to make sure that you know your body and you clearly understand it. it. And the best person to help you know that in a medical sense is a trained medical professional. Right under that, however, is informed self-care. So what does that mean? You are the best manager of your own health. You know yourself, you know your body, you know when something doesn't feel right. And the best thing you can do is tune into those assessments, tune into those feelings that I'm just not feeling like myself. And that's where you're working together with a medical professional and also working together with the products that doTERRA has to offer. Right below that, as I mentioned before, is reducing your toxic load. Super important. Most of us who are on this call live in cities or right near cities, and the toxic load is very high. It's in the air, it's in our water, it's in the foods that we eat, and it's in the things that we come in contact with every day. And while we want to try to clean our houses with natural healthcare products and use natural products on our skin and on our hair, we may go into offices or other places where we are exposed to toxic things in our carpets or other cleaning products. We never know where we're going to come into contact with toxins. We want to rest and manage stress. If you're not a champion sleeper, I'm going to have some tips for you today on how you can become one. Becoming a champion sleeper really should be your goal, and you want to make sure that you have good sleep hygiene. Are you getting to bed on a regular time? Are you eliminating lights in your bedroom or other noises? All of that has to do with rest and managing stress. And then we go down to exercise. Now, I can't get you to the gym and I can't exercise for you, but I do encourage you to exercise. And if you are exercising, we have some great tips for you. And finally, eating right. Okay, let's talk a little bit about self-care. Dr. Hill recommends these two oils on a regular basis. They're super familiar to us. This is nothing new. Frankincense and OnGuard. Frankincense, he actually says that he takes under his tongue every morning. Now, for those of you who are coffee drinkers out there, I myself am a coffee drinker. I find that using frankincense under my tongue, because of its slightly bitter taste, and I actually add a drop or two of grapefruit, which Dr. Hill also recommends, that slightly bitter taste has helped me to reduce the amount of coffee that I drink on a daily basis, while obviously protecting my cells and starting my day off right. OnGuard, you want to be using on a daily basis, whether it's putting it on the soles of your feet or drinking it in water. OnGuard and frankincense should be part of your daily routine. So frankincense, what does it do for you? It supports proper immune response. It soothes and nourishes the skin. It promotes healthy joint and soft tissue activity. It can calm and instill a sense of balance, and it supports healthy cell function. So it says here, which is very interesting, this was, Dr. Hill said this at the convention, when the DNA code within the cell's nucleus is altered, it seems frankincense supports the cell's ability to identify and determine what the right DNA code should be. So that's really a shocking revelation. There are very few things that can do this. We want to make sure that we're causing cell apoptosis or cell death by using natural products and not later on having to be bombarded by massive amounts of chemicals if we later fall ill. We want to make sure that the cells in our body are continually refreshing themselves. And as we know, we continually form rogue cells or cancer cells, and then we have to be able to eliminate them. What the body allows us to do is eliminate cells and to refresh. So what frankincense does is it actually supports that the cell's process or the cell's ability to identify and be able to cleanse itself of the cells that are harmful. Okay, so here's some new research on OnGuard. I know you're all using OnGuard every day, at least I hope you are. This comes from the BMC, which is a medical group for complementary and alternative medicine. The interesting thing about the blend of OnGuard, which contains wild orange, clove, cinnamon, eucalyptus, and rosemary, is that all of these oils are monoterpenes, and actually that they represent three of the biggest categories. So the phenols, the aldehydes, and the alcohols. And this is why you get a complete product in OnGuard, and one that's very supportive to our cells and to our cell renewal. So my favorite OnGuard products, this is just about everything. The new addition to the OnGuard family is actually the OnGuard Spray. So for those of you who are using some or all of these products, you're basically cleansing your environment on a regular basis. And I have to say, I use all of these on a regular basis. Right now I'm out of the toothpaste, so I have to order a little bit more, but I'm continually recommending the products to other people, sending out samples of OnGuard. I meet people now in the US. It's getting a little colder, a little cooler, and people are beginning to have colds and flus. And my number one recommendation is always OnGuard. So here's our OnGuard Mist, our newest product in the OnGuard line. Convenient. You can use it to clean your hands. It is a sanitizing mist. Moisturizing formula, contains OnGuard, has antiseptic properties, and super convenient when you're on the go. It is available as an NFR product. What I like about this is while it does contain some alcohol in it, it is a moisturizing formula, so you're not going to get that drying action happening on the palms of your hands. It's actually a quick way for you to put OnGuard on yourself when you're on the go. Let's talk a little bit about toxicity. So this goes back to the tip that I was talking about before, that I actually put grapefruit underneath my tongue on a daily basis. Citrus oils support the body and reduce toxicity, and they support the body's natural ability to cleanse, detoxify, and protect. Now, those of you who don't love grapefruit essential oil, and you may not because, as I said, it has that slightly bitter taste to it, tangerine is a yummy alternative. And it also ranks right up there with grapefruit in terms of its total limonene content. So tangerine or grapefruit, or both if you like. I prefer the grapefruit, just that I've gotten used to it. And tangerine, right now, I've kind of run out, I have to say, but tangerine is the more yummy of the two. You want to take a detoxifier along with your frankincense to give your body that 1-2 punch. Let's talk a little bit about limonene and why we need it. So limonene is the active ingredient in the citrus oil, and it actually increases glutathione levels in critical tissues such as the liver. And glutathione has multiple functions. It's one of the major antioxidants produced by the cells, and it neutralizes free radicals as well as maintaining antioxidants C and E. It regulates the nitric oxide cycle, which is critical for life, and it's used in metabolic and biochemical reactions such as DNA synthesis and repair, protein synthesis, amino acid transport, and enzyme activation. Every system in the body is affected by the glutathione, and your state of your glutathione in your body, especially the immune system, the nervous system, the gastrointestinal system, and the lungs, none of which obviously you can live without. But we want to make sure that we're constantly cleansing the liver and keeping the liver functioning at a high level. Your liver is your filter for your body. And whether you like to have a glass of wine from time to time, or you walk through a city street that's very polluted, or you have taken some medication in the past, your liver is the organ that's cleansing all of those things. We want to make sure that it's functioning properly. Limonene increases the glutathione, which is going to help to protect the liver. So take your tangerine and your grapefruit, or your grapefruit. Okay, let's talk a little bit about stress and rest. doTERRA has many oils that you can use to rest soundly, including things like cedarwood, lavender, the fir oils, frankincense, geranium, the citrus oils, and ylang ylang. And then the blends, balance, elevation, all of the mood oils. So we're talking about the emotional aromatherapy oil, and then serenity, the granddaddy of them all. What I love about these oils is in many ways they're interchangeable. If one isn't working for you, feel free to pick up another one. I find sometimes that I'll recommend something to someone for sleeping, and they'll tell me, it didn't work. I tried it and it didn't work. And then I ask them, do you try to get to bed on time? Do you shut off the TV in your bedroom before you go to sleep? Do you watch your phone up until the last minute before you try to close your eyes? All of those things are going to affect how we sleep. You want to have what's called good sleep hygiene. That means trying to keep a regular routine, getting to bed, let's say between 10 and 11 p.m. at night, getting up at a regular hour every morning. While staying in bed sometimes may seem like a wonderful thing, and we all need to do that from time to time, doing it on a regular basis can really upset our body clock. The other thing we want to try to do is limit screen time before going to bed. Screens including computers, iPads and iPods, and telephones tend to disrupt the signals to the brain and to our eyes, making it difficult for us to unwind and sleep late at night. Of course, things like loud noises, if they're in your bedroom, or constant noise, you want to block out noises in your bedroom. Keep your room at a steady temperature, neither too hot nor too cold, and actually cooler is a little bit better. So if you live in a place that's warm, you may want to actually turn on that air con at night, because it is a better way for you to sleep. Let's talk a little bit now about balance. Now, I had tended to put on balance at night before I went to sleep, but Dr. Hill is recommending now that we put it on in the morning, and that's exactly what I'm doing. So the fun thing about balance is that it's a blend of wood resins and florals. So spruce, hoe wood, and frankincense, and blue tansy, blue chamomile, and osmanthus. That balance is what really the thing that can help to bring us into balance. And the woods and the resins being very grounding and calming, and the florals being uplifting and mood protecting, which is why balance works for us. Going back to sleep, talked a little bit about Serenity, and what I showed basically, or what many of you might have been thinking about, was the Serenity Restful Blend, the original Serenity essential oil blend in the bottle. But there are the Serenity capsules, and if you haven't tried them, they really do work well together. When used together, they're a natural solution for restful night sleep. And if you're not a good sleeper, you want to start. Studies show that people who don't sleep well on a prolonged basis tend to have difficulty losing weight, difficulty with digestion, and other problems. Certainly irritability is a huge one, and we want to keep our moods stable if we possibly can, because mood fluctuations can cause us to have unnecessary stress. When we're feeling down or upset, it can be just about needing a little bit more sleep. So use these two products together, and if you are not a Serenity lover, try one of the other essential oils that I recommended. I'll be answering all questions at the end, so you can either type them in the chat and I'll answer them at the end. You can hold on to your question. As long as you can still hear me, I'm going to keep going. Well, for those of you who are on last week, we had a little bit of a glitch in the system with the sound, so I'm going to keep going. Okay, exercise. Please get out and try to do some exercise, whether it's just walking or you're able to run or go to a gym. It all counts. Make sure that you are active. You want to make sure that you're active until you're really very old. My own mother, who is 88 years old, as many of you know, actually walks every single solitary day. And while she doesn't walk far, she walks consistently, and that's a very good thing to do. You want to make sure, as her cardiologist said, that you're doing something every day that if suddenly you weren't able to do it for whatever reason, you would feel it, and it would give you a sign to wake up and really evaluate what's going on with my body, which is why consistent routines are good for us. Deep Blue, of course, is one of my favorite products. You can apply it directly to the skin. I love the Deep Blue rub. And the Deep Blue oil, I actually have taken to adding to my bath water after I come back from the gym. So sometimes I feel a little bit achy. I put some Epsom salts in my hand, and then I'll add a few drops of Deep Blue essential oil and put it right in my bath. I use the Epsom salts to dissolve the Deep Blue, so it doesn't just float on top of the water and then I sit down into it. I don't want to do that. I want it to be diffused throughout the water, and the best way to do that, you can also do that with a little bit of soap or a body wash. It will help to diffuse it into the water. Let's talk about soothing muscles and tissues. What I like about the, whoops, let me make sure this, sorry folks. There we go. Okay. Soothing to the tissues. These are the ingredients in deep blue. At the top, wintergreen, then camphor and peppermint, which are soothing to the tissues. Again, blue tansy and blue chamomile, which can elucidate normal inflammatory response, and helichrysum and osmanthus for tissue support and recovery. If you've ever used deep blue, you know you can use it really for many different things. I've heard of people using it for muscle, bone, or cartilage or ligament pains, all of which it's very effective in controlling and soothing. So the woods, the mints, and the spices, which is what these three categories are, act in the following way. So spices work to warm the body. Mints and spices work to numb. So if you're having a very deep pain, you want to actually numb the pain a little bit. Mint acts as a cooling agent so that we have the heat sometimes of an injury. And all three work for inflammatory support. We want to reduce the inflammation if we've had an injury or some other sort of pain. And finally, the woods act as for tissue recovery. So we want to control, soothe, support, and then finally recover. And that's why deep blue works so well. Okay, last but not least, we want to talk about eating right. I know many of you are taking the Lifelong Vitality, and you were able to attend the session that Rob Young recently put together for you in Singapore about the Lifelong Vitality, which are the three bottles to the left, the Alpha CRS, the XE Omega, and the Microplex VMZ. This should be your daily basic nutrients. If you are constrained in any way, whether it's financially or digestively, you can take the daily nutrient pack, which is just the XE Omega and the Microplex VMZ. However, I would strongly recommend, and this is what Dr. Hill is telling us, that we add the Terrazyme and the PB Assist on a daily basis. Now, I have to say, I've never really had a problem with my digestion, but I realize now when I started taking the Terrazyme right after convention that my digestion has actually gotten better. And because my digestion has gotten better, I've been able to lose a little bit of weight. I feel a little bit more energetic. I don't feel grumpy. I was having some days where I just felt grumpy all the time. And part of that, I think, had to do with allergies and with not being able to digest my foods properly. And so now that I'm taking the Terrazyme with every meal and the PB Assist at least twice a day, I find that I'm on a much more even state and I have a lot more energy. So we want to make sure that we're getting the energy that we need from the foods that we're eating. Now, I'm going to show you another slide that talks about why PB Assist is important and then why Terrazyme is important. So PB Assist are our probiotic. It's actually a pre and probiotic packaged together. It can restore balance to beneficial intestinal flora. It supports healthy immunity and it has a specialized delivery. If you've ever seen the capsule of PB Assist, it's actually a prebiotic encapsulated around a probiotic, and that allows it to drop right down into our intestinal tract. So which is where we want our good bacteria to be. You've heard, I'm sure, commercials on television about different sorts of yogurts and things that you can eat. And while they are not unhealthy for us, they're not the delivery system that we want for our probiotic. We want to make sure that something is getting all the way down into the intestines, because most of the bacteria that we ingest through our diet gets obliterated when it gets to the stomach and the acids of our stomach. In addition, the PB Assist Junior is a wonderful new product announced at the last convention. I keep PB Assist Junior in a teacup on my counter, and I encourage whoever's in my house to grab one as they go by. Emily Wright told us that she takes one throughout the day. Whenever she's in her house, she kind of grabs one and slugs it back. It also has a lovely strawberry melon flavor. So if you're a person who loves sweeties, you can take one of those instead of a candy or another sweet that you might ordinarily be grabbed to. and it's a super healthy way for you to get a little bit of sweetness and a little bit of probiotic at the same time. As adults, we can take up to 4 sachets a day, I would say. But I have to say, sometimes I've seen my son taking more than that. But I feel like PB Assist is a great thing for him to be overindulging with. If you have children over the age of about 3, you can feel confident that they can take the PB Assist Junior. It is a sachet. You would be taking, you can see it slightly in the back there, ripping off one of the ends, and then it has a flavored colored powder that you would just drop on your tongue and allow to dissolve. So you want to make sure it's a child that wouldn't throw the whole powder down their throat and then start choking. You want them to be able to dissolve it on their tongue. So that's, once they can do that, you can be sure that they can take this on a regular basis. Let's talk about Terrazyme a little bit. So when we have basically two types of enzymes, or the 2 main types of enzymes in our body. One are our metabolic enzymes, and the other are our digestive enzymes. So the body is able to produce both. The problem with the body is that as we age, it becomes more and more difficult for us to produce enzymes. And what Terrazyme does is it actually gives us the digestive enzymes so that the body can concentrate on just producing metabolic enzymes. So we're actually lightening the load on our body by allowing it to take in this product. By taking Terrazyme, we actually give it the digestive enzymes so that we can digest our foods, so our body can produce more metabolic enzymes. So it supports the healthy digestion of foods, of course. You may be feeling like I did, well, I don't really have problems with my digestion, and you may not, but as you are getting older, and none of us are getting any younger, you want to make sure that you're giving your body that extra boost that it needs, and Terrazyme is the thing that gives it the boost. So and you can feel free to take photographs of these slides if you want to. So here are the recommendations for each day written out. So in the morning, you want to apply 2 to 3 drops of balance to the bottoms of your feet when you wake up. Take frankincense under your tongue, and take 1 PB Assist with breakfast. Take your Lifelong Vitality and your Terrazyme with your morning meal. In the afternoon, you want to diffuse or apply your favorite oil for mood management. Mood management is critical for us, folks, because the better we feel about ourselves, the better we're going to interact with our families, our friends, our team, and the more we're going to be able to share doTERRA. If we're feeling grumpy or upset or tired, it's going to be really hard for us to be effective in what we have planned for ourselves. You want to take your Lifelong Vitality and your Terrazyme with your afternoon meal, and use citrus oils in water throughout the day. In the evening, you want to take your Lifelong Vitality and your Terrazyme again with your evening meal. As you know, you're taking 2 capsules from each of the 3 bottles. So 2 capsules from each of the 3 bottles. So 4. So 4 Alpha CRS, 4 XE Omega, and 4 VMZ. And that's over the course of the entire day, which is why Dr. Hill is recommending that we break it up over the course of the day. And then finally, diffuse OnGuard or take a capsule. And before bed, you want to diffuse your favorite oil for relaxation. I would say turn off the television or the other screens if you can, 30 minutes before going to bed. Read a book, talk to your partner, maybe even just relax or meditate or pray, whatever it is your tradition or your inclination. Take 2 Serenity soft gels 30 minutes before sleep, and apply Serenity or cedarwood to the bottom of the feet. And I would say if you have a child who's very restless, you might apply the Serenity or the cedarwood also to the spine or to the back of the neck. Dr. Hill says, so you mean I have to take all these pills every day? And the answer is yes. But if you don't take these pills, you'll have to take them one way or another. So what he means is if you're not taking vitamins, you're eventually going to have to take some sort of medication, which you can't avoid. So I know myself, there are times where I forget to take my Terrazyme or I forget to take my vitamins, but it's not a catastrophe because I get back into the routine right away, and I build up my health again the second day. But when you take medication that's prescribed to you, you're really not supposed to skip. So either you can take vitamins now or you can take medication later. Now, I bring up again my mother, who's in her 80s, has been a lifelong vitamin taker. She's been taking vitamins since she was in her 30s, so close upon 60 years. And while she shows the signs of aging that any normal 88-year-old would show, in general, she's extremely healthy, very active, and able to do the things that she would like to do. We all will show signs of aging eventually, whether it's mental or physical or emotional, but we want to protect ourselves and age gracefully. So being able to enjoy those last 10, 15, or 20 years of our lives with still enough spring in our step that we can do the things that we still want to do. Okay, so here it is as one giant slide. It's a little bit cut off at the bottom, I'm sorry to say, but I think you've gotten the idea. So self-care, reducing toxicity, rest and stress, exercise and eating right, and morning, afternoon, evening, and bedtime. We have many recommendations that you can use on a regular basis, and this is basically your daily routine. I love the fact that he kind of spelled it all out to us, 4 steps each and every day, and that this is the thing that he's doing himself. So if he's doing it, I want to do it too. So I'm going to actually stop the share. Whoops, there we go. And then I'm going to take whatever questions you may have, because I'm sure you probably have quite a few questions.